Okay, people, so this is December 8th, 2020, under the Fair Use Act. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances is made for fair use for purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. And then go on to the fair use definition. Okay, we got that, right? Okay. So, now what we got here is some kind of a live stream. Where is it? That was done 3 hours ago. Okay. And it's being reported on in terms of, it was just reported on by this particular news media. Okay? So anyway, I'm listening to it, right, people? I'm listening to it. And we're going to come into this, and then I'm going to say something, okay? This is some soldier dude going on about how they're bringing in their freezers and their logistics and their containment and just, right? Their whatever.
Perhaps I can add a few words about the vaccination, about certain populations. We have integrated teams. We have the public health teams and then the logistical teams, and we're working very closely because we can't have one side without the other.
All right. That is what I wanted you to hear. We can't have one side without the other. Well, let me tell you something. The same was applicable to Uncle John. Fraser Health Authority couldn't do what Fraser Health Authority did unless CIBC Bank did what CIBC Bank, vice versa. Okay? Two major corporations, right, that are basically employed to provide services to the public as they pull out the rug from underneath vulnerable individuals and their families so that they could rob money. Okay? The only thing that Uncle John had at that time, that those individuals within those corporations, through that third-party backdoor wheeling and dealing, okay, was his money. That was it. If he wouldn't have had no money, they would have tossed him out onto the street like a Ciera. Bottom line. Period. Okay? You heard it from the horse's mouth. They can't do shit unless they have more than one public agency working with them to facilitate an activity. Now, I'm going to keep this real short, people, okay? Which brings me to say that while listening to this, which technically I probably shouldn't, in terms of alleviating my headache, basically, I should listen and find it so you can hear it for yourself. They're starting off with the elderly, suggesting that it's safe for them. But we all know that's up for debate, people. Right? But they're saying, oh, we wouldn't give anything to the elderly. You can trust, that's not safe. You can trust us and da-da-da-da. But let me remind the few individuals, people, human beings, right? Friends or foes, right? That whatever these guys are doing with the elderly people, nobody knows. They're like an Uncle John, locked away like their dirty secret. Nobody can go see for themselves what the hell is going on. Nobody can go and hold their hand and say, how are you feeling? How have you been treated? Is there something that I can do? Oh, you want to leave here? Let me help you leave. Nobody can do that, people. These elderly are hidden away like the government's little secret en masse. Because when they die, nobody's going to be able to go in and fact check how they died before this so-called vaccination or after the so-called vaccination. The only individuals who are going to have those true statistics are the individuals that are perpetrating a bold-faced lie. And by bold-faced, it's the fact that you can't go in and witness how these elderly are being treated, never mind how they're dying, and then to be further publicly humiliated and brought down to a 10-person funeral where everybody is supposed to be 6 feet apart and nobody can touch the casket because it might contaminate not only the casket, but the dirt too. The government is not taking any responsibility for this lunacy. Okay? Because if the dirt is going to get contaminated, because somebody wants to take a little bit of dirt that's right there at the gravesite and throw it on the casket, and they're being told they can't do that because it might contaminate the dirt with COVID, well, then everybody from this point forward should think that whenever they go out and walk and about on the ground, on the pavement, on the road, on the grass, on the sand, on the gravel, on the dirt, if they're floating through air, a little bit of levitating as they go, doing a Jesus walk on water, whatever it is that they're walking on, they might as well consider it to be contaminated. For what the government is allowing companies, individuals, municipalities, policing agencies, government ministries, just the whole 9 yards, to just willy-nilly pick and choose whatever suits that moment, but not coming with any real facts. Okay? They haven't been looking after the elderly well to begin with. They have been denying the public access to the elderly for a year almost. Okay? Right? And they keep touting out these statistics, but not providing anybody an opportunity to actually fact check through 1, independent autopsies, 2, scouring over medical reports, looking for pharmacare fraud, right? That's a big one. We've seen that with ShaMay. How much did it cost to keep a dead body on machines for 9 days as the staff was lying about how she was alive when in fact she was not? $500,000 to the taxpayers of British Columbia, Canada? Or was it more like $1 million? Oh, but I know. They recouped their losses because they sold off ShaMay's body after they auctioned it off because they had it on display for 9 fucking days. Okay? So I'm sure it fetched a pretty penny. Because the way they made her look is what they like. That's what they like, people. That's what they're shooting for. And because they like that shit, they don't want you to see it. And that's why they're not letting you in to witness it. But of course, there are no fact checks on that, right? No funding for that, right? No brave lawyers putting out the charge to find out the truth, to protect the public, right? None of that. So, you know, how do they know it's safe when they can't even prove that what they've been doing with the elderly has been safe? They can't, people, because just because they say, oh, well, you know, we got another 512 infections today, and some of it was epidemiology over here, and, you know, we got our super spreaders, and then, you know, blah, and blah, and blah, and blah, and blah. If the government is so confident about their numbers, then they need to, under the Freedom of Information, open up that information and make it available to the public and encourage people to fact check them. But they won't. No, because all they have to say is, you're not well enough yet John. You know that. I know you want to see the kids, John, but you can't see them, John, because you're not well enough yet, John. Okay, now the reason I did that, if you're wondering, was because when the kids went to go see Uncle John in Victoria, before those individuals really stashed them away, right? And Eleanor was going off about what I just said. Apparently, and this is what ShaMay told me, because ShaMay was there, right? That's why ShaMay's dead, because she was a witness to it, right? Okay. So anyway, Eleanor, right, the professional nurse, working in the system for 40 years, you know, gets freaking wall plaques from the provincial government for a good job, because she likes to go around injecting people all the time, right? She was up in John's face. You know that, John. Spit, spit. You know that, John. You're not supposed to see the kids. You know that. You're not well enough yet, John. You're not well enough. You know that, John. Right? How do you think Uncle John felt? Tell me. As he seen the kids walking out the door. And that was it. That was the last time he ever got to see them. And then they proceeded to wipe out his memory with their new and improved technology and dope. So that the bank, CIBC Bank, and Fraser Health Authority together, because one couldn't do what one did without the other, right? Transferred over his inheritance with nobody paying attention to the criminal activity to allow that to happen, right? Because it was all done through backroom deals and bribes and all that shit, right? Taking away human rights and, right? Destroying families and falsely accusing people of, well, they didn't falsely accuse John. They just simply said, you can't see the kids, John. No, you can't. Because you're not well enough. You know that, John. Huh? That is your healthcare system, people. Okay? That is your healthcare system. So let's listen to this, okay? This is how they're going to be rolling out their vaccines. For people that have absolutely no voice, absolutely none, because they're locked away like the government's dirty little secret as they're plotting and scheming between this bank, that freaking agency, government agency, that agency which isn't technically a government agency, but works with the government. So, therefore, because it's not technically a government agency, somehow it becomes at arm's length, but it's the go-between stealing the money. Okay? And as they're doing it, they're keeping the people out. Right? You can't see how dad or grandpa or brother or lover is being treated. God forbid. You might get loud and say something. So we're just not going to let you in. You think that's going to change? You honestly think that's going to change? That's not going to change. No, because we already got it mutating with the minks, remember? Right? Because they're always one step ahead of us. Because we're not dealing with normal human beings. Because I said so. Because I'm the one that's been working with the government, John, for 40 fucking years. And all I gotta do is stick it to you in the fucking arm. Right? And you're done. And they'll come in with their little readable statistics that nobody can fact check. With the same fucking mantra. Right? With the same fucking mantra, people.
Concernant, on s'entend que les premières personnes
We all agree that the
First of all, who said we? I don't agree. I don't agree. Because these old people are being locked up under key. They've been locked up under key for a long fucking time. Right? And they've been misrepresentative, abused, used, treated poorly, denied their human rights, right? Ostracized from their loved ones, punished for being old, and they're used basically now as a science experiment for a bunch of fucking retards that are out of control. Because we've got... Anyway.
First people who will receive the vaccines will be the elderly, people in long-term care or retirement homes. Do you believe that Pfizer has conducted enough tests on the elderly for the vaccine to be safe? You don't think that... we're playing with the lives of the elderly. No, we trust our Health Canada regulatory colleagues. They are the ones.
Oh, they're the ones that make sure that everybody's hidden under lock and key, people. Nobody can go see nobody because Dr. Death or Dr. Who or Dr. God, whatever one you want to call that doctor, but we know, right? We got doctors up there saying, no, you can't go into the care homes, you can't see your loved ones, no, because they're not well enough yet, right? They're sick or they might get sick and just the whole 9 yards, just spitting into the fucking camera. Well, sorry, spitting into the old folks' faces.
Who are analyzing the...
Exactly, analyzing. They're collecting the data and they're using the old people who have no means to fight back as the guinea pigs to that data.
Data, the evidence from the clinical trials. There are many groups of people who have been involved in the clinical trials, which have been...
So now he's skirting away from the question all over, right? He's skirting away from it. It was specifically pointed at the elderly, and now he's trying to draw in that it was a clinical trial, which everybody knows wasn't nearly long enough, right? And didn't have enough test subjects, right? But the question was in regards to the elderly, and now he's trying to broad sweep it by saying, well, there was more than just the elderly tested. So let's see.
And carried out on people of all ages, including on elderly people. So once approval is there, all Canadians can trust that the certified vaccines...
Just talk, people. So what? They certified it. So what? I can say I'm a certified nutcase. Does that make me certified nutcase? No. Okay? They're not letting people to go in and witness how the elderly are being treated before and after they die, as they're being told that they can't carry the caskets and throw dirt on the caskets because those people might contaminate the casket in the freaking dirt. Okay? The government is clearly out of control. Right? Nobody was talking like that until the government started doing what it was doing. Right? But it's been in the hospitals for a long time. This is what Uncle John was trying to tell you guys. That's why he said, go get a lawyer. He knew. That's why he got rid of his life insurance policy, people, because he knew. He knew that once he got to a certain age, that was it. Somebody was going to come after him and try and fucking steal it. And this is what the government's doing with their workers. You can't, John, you know that. You can't see the kids. No, you can't. You're not well enough yet, John. No. You know that, John. It's a living nightmare for these old people. The ones that are being treated like Uncle John, and it sounds like the vast majority of them are, it's a living nightmare for them. You don't hear no real testimonies from anybody outside of government officials on YouTube. Right? Where's the debate, people? Where's the real stories? You don't see the families talking their stories, only mine. And look what YouTube does. 26 views later, right? Well, Skinny Minnie over there gets 1 million for being a contortionist with broken bones. Right? Because what's important here is that you just don't see the kids. So they can't come back and fight for you. Right? Because we want your money. And we're going to get it by any means necessary. Yep. And we can't do it by ourselves. So we're going to partner up with the banks and whoever else we can partner up with when it comes to a corporation wanting to keep the billions in the bank. And you know that, John. You can't see the kids. Okay, for the sake of it, we're going to just finish with whatever his sentence is, and I'm done. Okay, obviously, this is forced vaccination against the elderly who have nobody to stand up and fight for their behalf. Okay, these guys, they're not coming out with anything. There's no opposition. There's no debate. There's no statistics. Nothing. It's all being done behind the shadows with ghostwriters writing in statistics that nobody has an opportunity to fact check outside of. Nobody can see they're elderly. And now we're being told that they're going to start force vaccinating them because they're within the healthcare system. So therefore they become property to the healthcare system and those governments that manage those healthcare systems. And when they die, right, there's not going to be no apology. None of that, people. The only thing that's going to happen is the money's going to keep flowing because one can't do it without the other. Okay? Somebody needs to do a financial audit on all the old people who have died and find out where their assets went to. Literally. Okay? You're not going to get it from the government because the government's got their hand in the cookie jar. Even if they just took 10%, okay, in terms of the total dollar amount regarding those assets, they're rolling in the billions of dollars. Okay? When you take it to a continental level. Like I said, they're egg snatchers. They're snatching up on the elderly. The elderly. They're snatching up on the elderly. And they're snatching up on those nest eggs. That's what they're doing. When they're not going after the young people for their ovaries.
Of Pfizer and the other vaccines as well will be safe and effective.
He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. People need to document, just like I'm document. And when the numbers start falling off the fucking grid, come back and say, here you are saying this, now you're going to jail. Literally. This guy doesn't know the future. But he'd be the first one to say, no. You can't see the kids. No, you can't. You know that. Right? Right? You're not well enough yet, John. Right? He'll be the first one. And if he doesn't do it, he'll get his Lucy's to do it for him.